Welcome everyone to another video of WarLight's strategic template review thing that we do. I have with me Jay-Z today, and we're going to take a look at East Australia and Oceania map. This was very popular on I think it even had a seasonal ladder on it, if I'm not mistaken. But it was at least on the real-time ladder. And it was famous because it used to have these normal neutrals of 3, or not normal, quite different from what you're used to. And the map is slightly different because of that. It's a bit slower to go through. And now it's been fixed. Lots of people complained about the luck on that template. And this is the new fixed version with 0% straight round. So I'm just going to give an overview of the settings real quick. So it's pretty much the basic 3 starting picks, 4 initial territories. Neutrals are all 3. There are a few wastelands of 10. The cards are the usual ones: reinforcement, or the priority, or the delay. Blockade, cyclic order, which can be useful for some situations, and 0% straight round, as I mentioned. So it's a very interesting map. There are a few hot spots that are usually worth picking. Usually the center is nice because it has good position and some decent choke points to defend and expand. The north is usually good as well. And as for usual strategy that you go for picking, you either want a combo on the +3s or a combo on some safe +4. That's my experience. On this particular game I actually triple picked, which is not very common for this template. It doesn't usually pan out very well, but I got lucky on this particular game. But JZ, what would be your strategy for this template overall? What hot zones do you take into account? What combos do you think make more sense?
So my favorite spot on this map is actually the center, like you said. I like to pick in the center because it has access to basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2-3 points up in the north, and depending on the distribution, depends on whether or not I go for them. Sometimes when Inner Mongolia is if that is a wasteland, then it makes those 2 much more appealing.
Which one is Inner Mongolia?
It's in the blue, the blue 5 point.
The blue 5 point, North China.
Yes.
So it's
so.
Oh yeah, okay, the Inner Mongolia, this one. Okay, go on.
I also like Coral Coast. Sometimes it just depends on the distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I've picked a lot is the Queensland. This is in Australia. Queensland, New South Wales combination, and sometimes as well North Australia.
Mm-hmm.
All of those, if you get the right combination, you can finish those in a turn or 2.
And they're really safe.
And they tend to be safe as long as you're the only one, particularly if you're the only one in Australia, which can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest things for this map that I feel is important is that you play it a couple times before you actually play any games, because there's a lot of tapping that's involved. And so you kind of want to get a good feel for what you need to tap before you strike. So it's good to get, for whatever territory you want to take, it's good to have 2 territories bordering it. So you can tap with one and take with the other. So you only have to use 4 armies to take it as opposed to 5.
Yeah, it's an important thing for all 0% straight round templates, but for this one in particular because they're the neutrals of 3. I think another hot tip, well, there are some obvious choke points that are very important on this map. One of them is Xinjiang in the north, not just on this layout but on most games that is played, because it's a safe spot for the north, for West Mongolia and East Mongolia, and it bridges to the south very quickly, which is usually a hot zone because it leads to the center and Malaysia and Indonesia through India territory. So this is a very important choke point that usually ends up being crucial on most games. And then the choke points also in the center, the ones around India. India usually comes into play a lot because it connects the north with the west, with the center, and also with Australia at the same time through the connection with Coral Coast. So it's also a very hot zone. You should have access to it, but be on the safe side. So usually you end up either with South Arabia or Coral Coast or the center or the north even, and then try to control India so you can break into the rest of your opponent's income. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the choke points and what other thing. I've seen some games where people actually use the islands. On this particular layout, they're not very inviting, but when you have like 2 picks there, they are good because you have mid-game expansion. You can get like a +4 in 2 turns, and then have the other pick disturbing your opponent's expansion while you expand into the other islands, which are +5, +5, +4. So you get some good income out of that, a very safe income, more importantly than that. What other thing was worth talking about? The starting positions. Of course, the picks are always important on WarLight games, but on this particular one, if there's a high possibility of you seeing your opponent straight away, as you neighboring him, you will have a very hard time not getting wiped out from there unless you have a combo on your 2 and 3 pick. So in my experience, you need to be very careful with picks to consider that, because if you neighbor your like in, for example, in this game between East Mongolia and West Mongolia, if you share this one with your opponent, you will need to have something to counterbalance, like for example 2 picks on Coral Coast, or 2 picks around Indonesia, for example. So you can get early income first, and then wipe out your opponent from that area, or you usually risk getting wiped out if you don't. I don't know. Do you agree with me, JZ?
I think it sounds good.
Okay. Anything else you can think of that it's important for this map?
I don't know if I said it before, but one of the things you like to look for is if you have a pick that's in the center of a bonus. So like if you look in Queensland, for example, it borders all 4 territories in that bonus, which makes it easier to take on turn 2.
Yeah, you tap everything on first turn out of that bonus, and then yeah.
And the same thing for Middle East up in the northwest.
Okay.
So it's a good position.
Yeah.
And so like on this map, the Middle East Saudi Arabia combination, both of those have that same feature where you can just tap everything. Now the only problem is there's the counters, but yeah. that's kind of a nice combo for that reason.
Okay. I think that's it. Okay, so everyone, let us know if you have any specific questions about this template. Either ask on the YouTube comments or post it on the forum chat. We will be posting this on the usual strategic forum. Yeah, and enjoy your games, have fun, and all that jazz. Bye-bye.
Bye.